Ladies and gentlemen, let me talk to you from my heart today. I want to talk to you about something that carried me when nothing else made sense. I want to talk to you about trusting in your prayers. See, a lot of people pray, but not everybody trusts. We ask God for things. The moment it doesn't happen on our schedule, we start doubting, complaining, and wondering if we were even heard. I'm here to tell you every prayer you've ever prayed was heard. Just because you didn't see it yet doesn't mean it's not already in motion. There was a time in my life when I was homeless, sleeping in my car, broke and confused. I was praying every single day, asking God, why am I here? When is it going to change? And nothing changed overnight. But what I didn't realize back then was that God wasn't ignoring me. He was building me. He was shaping my character, strengthening my patience, and preparing my mindset for where I was going. If He had answered my prayer too early, I wouldn't have been ready to handle the blessing. You see, delays are not denials. A delay simply means there's something you need to learn, something you need to grow into, or something you need to let go of. Some of you are praying for success, but you're not ready for the responsibility. Some of you are praying for a breakthrough, but you haven't developed the discipline to maintain it. God knows what you can handle, and He also knows what would break you if it came too soon. Trusting your prayers also means understanding that sometimes God will change you before He changes your situation. You keep asking Him to move the mountain. He's trying to give you the strength to climb it. You're asking Him to remove the storm, but He's teaching you how to walk through it without losing your faith. When you come out stronger, wiser, and more focused, that's proof your prayer is already being answered. Faith is not just about talking. Faith requires action. You can't pray for a job and then stay in bed all day. You can't pray for a better life and keep making the same decisions. Prayer without work is just wishing. When you trust in your prayers, you move differently. You prepare like it's already done. You work like the blessing is on the way. You speak like you already believe. Let me tell you something powerful. The fact that you're still here, the fact that you survived what should have broken you, the fact that you didn't give up when life hit you the hardest, that's evidence. That's proof that your prayers are working behind the scenes. Some battles you didn't even see because God handled them without your permission. And finally, learn to be grateful before the miracle shows up. Gratitude is a form of trust. When you thank God in advance, you're saying, I believe you even when I can't see it yet. That kind of faith opens doors that talent, money, and connections never could. So ladies and gentlemen, trust in your prayers. Keep praying, keep believing, keep working, keep thanking God. Your blessing is not late. It's right on time. Ladies and gentlemen, trusting your prayers means you have to believe that timing matters just as much as faith itself. A lot of people have strong faith, but weak patience. You believe God can do it. You just want Him to do it right now. And when it doesn't happen immediately, you start questioning yourself, questioning your prayers, and sometimes even questioning God. But let me tell you something I had to learn the hard way. God's timing is never random, and it's never late. It's precise, it's intentional, and it's designed to protect you. When you pray for something and it doesn't show up when you expect it, that doesn't mean your prayer failed. It means there's a process attached to the promise. You see, timing is what separates blessings from burdens. If God gives you something too early, before your mindset is ready, before your character is strong enough, before your discipline is developed, that blessing can turn into stress, pressure, or even destruction. That's why timing matters. God is not just interested in giving you what you ask for. He's interested in making sure you can keep it. I remember times in my life when I was praying hard, doing everything I knew how to do, and still nothing was happening. I felt ignored. I felt overlooked. But looking back now, I realize if God had answered those prayers back then, I would have messed it up. I didn't have the maturity. I didn't have the humility. I didn't have the wisdom. So instead of rushing the blessing, God slowed me down and worked on me. That's what timing is about. It's preparation disguised as waiting. Trusting your prayers means understanding that God sees what you can't see. You see today, but God sees 5 years from now. You see the opportunity, God sees the consequences. You see the success, but God sees the responsibility that comes with it. And because He loves you, He won't release you into something you're not ready to handle. That waiting season you're in right now is not punishment. Ladies and gentlemen, let me talk to you from my heart today because I want to talk to you about something still not carrying me when nothing else made sense. You're praying, you're working, I want to talk to you about trusting in your prayers. But the door hasn't opened yet. A lot of people pray, that's because everybody trusts. Is also about alignment. We ask God for everything has to line up. The right people, the right place, schedule, the right mindset, and the right moment. Wondering when one piece is missing, God will pause the process until it all comes together. Was heard. When it does, just because you didn't see why it didn't happen doesn't mean it's not already in motion. Here's the hard part about trusting timing. There was a time in my life when I was homeless, when there's no evidence in my car, bro. You have to stay faithful. I was praying every single day, asking God, why am I here? That's real. When is it going to change? Anybody can believe when changed overnight. Good. But what I didn't realize back then was that God wasn't ignoring me. He was building me. He was shaping my character. That's a different level of belief. Strengthening my patience. That's when timing is preparing my mindset for where I was going. And teaching you endurance. If He had answered my prayer too early, God's timing, I wouldn't have been ready to handle the blessing. You stop forcing. You see, delays are not denials. Comparing your journey to someone else. Something you need to learn. You understand that what's meant for you will come to you when you're ready to let go of. Not when you're desperate. Some of you are praying for success. Not when you're impatient, but you're not ready for the responsibility. And when it finally arrives, some of you are praying for a breakthrough to hold on to it, but you haven't developed because you'll be strong enough to carry it. Ladies and gentlemen, you can handle. One of the most important lessons you will ever learn in life if it came too is this: trusting your prayers also means understanding that God has not answered your prayer yet does not mean He changes your situation. Too many people quit asking Him to move the mountain and quit trusting. He's trying to give you the strength to climb it. They mistake silence for rejection to remove the storm, waiting for failure. But He's teaching you how to walk through it on human without losing your faith. He works on divine timing, stronger, wiser, and more focused. That's proof your prayer is already being answered. When you pray for something meaningful, is not just about something that can change your life. There is always a process attached. You can't pray for a job. God is not just handing out blessings. You can't pray for a better life person receiving and keep making the same decisions. While you are waiting, He is working. Without work is just wishing. While you think nothing is happening, something is happening in you. Differently. Your patience is like it's already done. Your faith is being stretched. The blessing is on the way. Your character is being refined. These delays are not meant to frustrate you. They are meant to fortify you. I know what it feels like to pray that you survived what should have broken you. I've been there. The fact asking God why I'm doing everything I know how to do. The hardest, that's still coming up short. That's what I learned. That your prayers God uses behind the scenes. What you don't battles you didn't even see because God handled them. Sometimes He's clearing out your pride. And finally, sometimes He's removing fear before the miracle shows up. Gratitude is a form of who would not survive. When you thank God in advance, you're saying, if I believe you the blessing even when I can't see it yet. You take the wrong people kind of faith opens doors that talent and damage the very things you never could. So ladies and gentlemen, trust in your prayers, keep praying, keep believing, you may think you're ready, keep thanking God knows what blessing is not late, right on time. The attention, ladies and gentlemen, trust in your prayers and the temptation means you have to believe that timing matters. If you haven't developed discipline during the waiting period, a lot of people have strong faith. But that's why delay is mercy. You believe not God can do it. You just want Him to do it right now. I love you and when it doesn't happen immediately, you're ready. You start questioning yourself. Some of you are discouraged questioning your prayers. You see other people receiving God. What you've been praying for. Let me tell you something I had to learn. You see them getting promoted, starting businesses. God's timing is never random, and you're still waiting. It's never late. But comparison will kill your faith. And it's their delay is not your delay. When you pray, timing is not your timing. It doesn't show up when you expect that doesn't mean your prayer failed. What you don't see is the battles they fought, a process attached the sacrifices they made. You see, and the lessons they learned behind separates blessings from burden. Focus on your own journey and trust that God knows exactly where you are. Before your mindset is ready, the danger of delay is not the waiting itself. Before your discipline is developed, that blessing some people allow delay to turn into doubt. They stop praying, stop believing, that's why timing matters. God is not just interested in giving you what you keep showing up. He's interested in making sure you can keep trusting the delay. I remember times in my life when I was praying hard, when the blessing doing everything I knew how to do, and still nothing was happening. Humility. I felt ignored. They teach you gratitude, but they teach you how to lean on God. I realized your own understanding. God had answered those prayers, and when the answer finally comes, I would have messed it up. I didn't have the maturity. I didn't have the humility to get. I didn't have the wisdom. You won't take it for granted. So instead of rushing the blessing, God slowed me down and worked on me. That's what delays are not denials. It's preparation. They are evidence that God is shaping something in you that means understanding that God sees what you can't see. Ladies and gentlemen, you see one of the hardest truths about God sees 5 years from now is accepting the opportunity God will change you the consequences. He ever changes your situation, but God sees the responsibility that comes with new opportunities, and because He loves you, but we overlook the fact that the biggest thing you're not ready to handle is inside that waiting season you're in. We ask for external change is not punishment while carrying internal habits, mindsets. Some of you are fears that would sabotage because you're doing the right things and still instead of shifting the circumstances, you're praying, you're working, you're staying focused. When you pray and nothing around you seems to move, that's because timing is the transformation is happening with everything has to line up. The right people, the right place, where you used to rush, the right mindset, humility where you used to be proud. When one piece where you used to rely only on yourself, God will pause the process until it all comes together. When it does, it will make sense why it didn't happen sooner. Stretches your belief system. Here's the hard part about trusting timing. You have to keep believing even avoid when there's no evidence. This is necessary. You have to stay faithful because your next level nothing around you looks like it's changing. A lot of people think success is about opportunity, but it's really about readiness. Trusting your prayers when you're tired, when you're disappointed, and when you feel forgotten. God understands that if He changes the situation, that's when timing is shaping you. The outcome will be strengthening you and that's teaching you endurance on your mindset. When you truly trust in God, He teaches you how to handle disappointment without quitting, how to stay disciplined, comparing your journey to someone else, and how to remain humble. You understand that what's meant for you will come to you when you're ready. These lessons are learned in seasons where prayers not when you're desperate. Sometimes God will allow you to struggle, not because and when it finally arrives, pain, you won't have to struggle to hold on to it muscle, because like your body grows through resistance, your ladies and gentlemen, through adversity. One of the most important lessons you will ever learn in life is this: every moment of confusion is shaping just how you God has not answered your prayer yet. God knows does not mean He has said no. Too many people quit praying, quit believing, can't handle pressure now. Right before you won't survive it happens. Changing you also silence, changing how you think, and waiting God for often removes the comfort God does not work on human so you can learn to trust Him fully. On divine timing, He strips away your that timing is always so develop real faith. Everything is going well. It's easy to say you something trust that can God. Change your life. Things there is always a process attached to it. That's when God is not just handing out blessings. That's when prayer without shaping the person receiving. Many of you are praying while you are waiting. He is God is teaching you emotional nothing is happening. Your something is happening confidence. God is placing you in situations your that faith is being stand alone. You're praying your for character wisdom, is being refined. But God is allowing these delays you to make are not meant to frustrate so you can learn. They are meant to fortify None of this you. Feels I know like what it feels like prayer to pray in the moment, and but see later you will realize it I've been the answer you need. Asking God when why God I'm doing everything I know how to do. The blessing still coming up short. What I learned is when things God go wrong, uses delay. You don't become arrogant when things don't right. You He gives you what you ask for. Purpose, sometimes He's clearing out your That's pride. Why trusting sometimes He's removing trusting the process. Sometimes He's even when your situation people looks the same survive the next level stronger. If He gave you the blessing too early, your prayer is already being answered. With you, ladies and gentlemen, trusting your prayers also means the very thing understanding that faith is not delay passive. Is also God's faith way is not just something you say. Yourself. It is something you live. A lot of people pray God knows what pressure but then comes they sit back and wait. He knows the prayer alone is the responsibility, work, and the temptation that comes requires movement. If you haven't developed discipline during the waiting period, the blessing will even when you don't have all the answers. That's why delay is mercy, not punishment. Your actions begin to match what I love you say too much to give this to you before you're pray ready. For a better life. Some of you are discouraged because you cannot see other people receiving what you've been praying. Prayer opens the door. You see them getting promoted, discipline, starting businesses, finding success. God will give you the opportunity, but comparison will kill your faith. Their delay is not your delay. And their
Faith
timing
without
is not
action
your
is like
timing.
planting a seed
God's
and never
plan for your
watering
life
it.
is custom made.
You may believe
what
it
you
can
don't
grow,
see is the
but
battles they
belief
fought,
alone won't
the
make it happen.
sacrifices they
There were
made,
times in
and
my
the
life
lessons
when I
they
prayed
learned
for
behind
success,
closed doors.
but I didn't yet have the
Focus
habits
on
to
your own
support it.
journey and trust
I
that God
wanted
knows
change.
exactly where
God
you
will
are.
not override
The danger
your
of delay is
responsibility.
not the
He
waiting
will
itself.
guide you,
It's what you
strengthen
do
you,
while you wait.
and inspire
Some people
you,
allow
but
delay
He
to turn into
expects
doubt.
you to show
They
up
stop
every day
praying,
and do
stop
your
believing,
part.
and
When you
stop
pray
working.
and then take
But if
action,
you stay
you are
faithful
telling
during
God
the
you
delay,
trust
if you
Him
keep
enough to
showing
move
up,
forward,
even without
preparing,
guarantees,
and keep trusting.
action
The
also
delay will
requires
actually
courage.
strengthen your
Trusting
foundation.
your prayers
When
means
the
being
blessing
willing to take
comes,
risks.
you won't crumble
You have to
under
step
it.
out of fear
Delays
and
teach
into
you humility.
faith. Many
They
people
teach
stay
you
stuck
gratitude
because
they
they are
teach you
waiting
how to
for
lean on
everything
God
to feel
instead of
safe
your
and
own
certain
understanding
before they move.
And when
But
the answer
faith does
finally
not operate
comes,
on
you
certainty.
will appreciate
Faith
it
operates on
differently
belief.
because you
You
remember
move
what it
first
took to
and
get
clarity
there.
follows.
You won't
You
take
step
it for
out
granted.
and the path
You won't
reveals
misuse
itself.
it.
That's how prayer works.
You
with
won't waste
action.
it. Another
That's
thing
why
about
delays
faith
are
and
not
action is
denial.
consistency.
They are evidence
One
that
prayer
God
does
is
not
shaking
cancel out
something in
years
you
of
that is
poor
worth
habits.
waiting for.
You can't pray
Ladies
for
and
discipline
gentlemen,
and then quit when
one
it
of the
gets
hardest
uncomfortable.
truths about
Growth
trusting your
happens when you
prayers
show
is
up
accepting that
repeatedly,
sometimes
even
God
when
will change you
motivation
before
fades.
He ever changes
God
your
honors
situation.
consistency
We
because
often
it
pray
shows
for
new
commitment.
doors
When you
new
keep
opportunities
working,
and
keep
new
learning,
outcomes, and
but
keep
we
improving.
overlook the fact that
You
the
are
biggest
aligning
work
your
God
actions
wants
with
to
your
do
prayers.
is inside
Trusting
of
your
us.
prayers
We
also
ask for
means
external
adjusting
change
your behavior
while carrying
when
internal
God
habits,
gives you
mindsets,
direction.
and
Sometimes
fears
the
that would
answer to
sabotage
your
the
prayer
very
is a
thing
nudge
we're asking
to walk
for.
away from
So
certain
instead
people,
of shifting the
habits,
circumstances,
or environments,
God starts
if you
reshaping
ignore
the
that
person.
guidance, you
When
delay
you
your
pray
own
and nothing
breakthrough.
around you
Faith
seems
is
to move,
obedience. It's because
listening
the
and
transformation
responding,
is happening
not just
within.
asking and waiting.
God is
When
teaching
prayer
you
and action
patience
work
where you
together,
used to
momentum
rush,
is created.
humility where you
begin
used
to
to
see
be
small
proud,
changes
and
that
faith where
build
you used to
confidence.
rely only on
Your
yourself.
belief grows
This internal
stronger
change
because
is
you
not
see evidence
comfortable.
of progress.
Growth rarely
That
is.
momentum
It challenges
keeps
your
you going
ego,
when things get
stretches
difficult.
your belief
You
system,
realize that God
and
is not
forces
just
you to
working for
confront
you,
parts of
He
yourself
is
you've been
working
avoiding.
with you.
So
But
when
this
you
is
pray,
necessary
move, prepare,
work
because
study,
your next
practice,
level
improve.
demands a
Act like what
stronger
you asked
version
for
of
is
you.
already
A
on
lot
the
of
way.
people
Because
think
when
success
faith
is about
meets
opportunity,
action,
but it's
your
really
prayers
about
stop
readiness.
being words
You
and
can
start
be
becoming a
placed in
lifestyle.
the right room
Ladies
at the wrong
and gentlemen,
time,
trusting
still
your
fail.
prayers also
God
means
understands that if He
recognizing
changes
that
the
survival
situation
itself
without
is
changing
evidence
you,
that
the outcome
your prayers
will
are
be
working.
temporary. Many
That's
of you
why
are
He
focused only on
focuses
what
on your
hasn't
mindset.
happened yet.
He teaches you how to handle disappointment without quitting,
and didn't.
how to stay
You are
disciplined
still
without
standing after
supervision,
situations
and
that
how to
should have
remain
broken your
humble
spirit
when things
crushed
finally
your
go your way.
confidence.
These
And
lessons
ended
are
your
learned in
journey.
seasons where
That
prayers
alone is
feel
proof
unanswered.
that God has been
Sometimes
active in
God
your
will
life,
allow you to
even when you
struggle,
didn't notice
not
it.
because He enjoys
There were
seeing
moments
you in
when you
pain,
were under
but
pressure,
because struggle
stressed,
builds spiritual
confused,
muscle.
and
Just like
afraid,
your body
and
grows
somehow
through
you made it
resistance,
through.
your faith
You
grows
didn't have
through
all the
adversity.
answers.
Every
You didn't have all the
setback,
resources.
every closed
You had
door,
just enough
every
strength
moment
to
of
keep
confusion
going.
is shaping
That strength
how
did
you
not
respond
come from
to
luck.
pressure.
It came
God
from
knows that
grace.
where
It
He's
came
taking
from
you,
prayers working
pressure will be
behind the
part of the
scenes,
package.
shielding
If you
you
can't
from things
handle pressure
you didn't
now,
even see
you won't
coming.
survive it
Sometimes
later.
God
Changing
answers
you
your
also
prayers
means
by
changing
removing
how you
danger.
think.
Instead
God
of giving you
often
what you
removes
ask
the
for.
comfort zones
You may
depend
have
on,
prayed
so you
for
can
a
learn to
relationship
trust
that didn't
Him
work
fully.
out.
He
A
strips
job
away
that
your
didn't come
backup
through,
plan so you can
or an
develop
opportunity
real
that
faith.
disappeared.
Everything is going
At the
well.
time,
It's
it
easy
felt
to
like
say
loss.
you trust God.
Later, you
But when
realize
things
that
fall
what didn't
apart
happen
and you
saved
still
you from
believe,
heartbreak,
that's
failure,
when
or
faith
unnecessary
becomes real.
struggle.
That's when
Survival
prayer
is
turns
often
into
the
power.
silent answer
Many
to
of
prayer.
you are praying
When
for
you
peace,
trust your prayers,
but God is
you
teaching
begin
you
to see
emotional
your past
control.
differently.
You're praying
You
for
stop
confidence.
saying, "Why
God
did this
is
happen to
placing
me?"
you in
and start
situations
saying,
that force you to
"How did I
stand
make
alone."
it through
You're
that?"
praying for wisdom.
That shift in perspective
But God is
builds
allowing
faith.
you to make mistakes.
It reminds you that
so you
if
can
God
learn from
carried
them.
you through the
None of
hardest
this
moments
feels
of
like
your
an
life,
answer to prayer
He
in the
can
moment,
carry you
but
into the
later
future
you will
you're
realize
praying
it was
for.
the answer
Your
you
track
needed.
record of
When
survival
God
is
changes acknowledges
that
you
God
first,
is not
the
done with
blessing
you.
lasts
A lot of
longer.
people give
You
up
don't
because
panic
they
when
don't
things go
see
wrong.
immediate
You don't
success.
become arrogant
They think
when
prayer
things
only
go right.
works
You
when it
move
produces
with
visible results.
purpose, clarity,
But
and
prayer
stability.
also works by
That's why
sustaining
trusting
you,
your prayers
strengthening
means
you,
trusting the
and
process
keeping
of
you
becoming.
alive
Even when
long
your
enough to reach your
situation
purpose.
looks the same,
Some
if you are
blessings are
growing
not things you
stronger,
receive,
wiser,
they are
and
things you
more
survive.
grounded.
Your
Think
prayer is
about
already
the
being
emotional
answered.
battles you faced.
Ladies and
The
gentlemen,
nights you
trusting
cried
your
alone.
prayers
The
also
moments you
means
felt abandoned.
understanding that faith
The times
is
you
not
almost
passive.
quit. Faith
yet
is
you're
not
still
just
here.
something you say.
That wasn't
It is
accidental.
something
That was
a
God
lot of
answering
people pray
prayers.
sincerely.
You didn't
but
even
then
know
they
how to
sit back
pray.
and wait.
When you
as
couldn't
if
find
prayer
the
alone
words,
is supposed
your
to do
pain
all the work
spoke.
for you.
Real
Survival
faith requires
builds credibility
movement.
in your faith.
It requires
It
effort.
teaches you that
It
even when
requires
life
you
is
to step
unfair,
forward,
God is
even
still
when you don't
faithful.
have all the answers.
It reminds you that
When
your
you
prayers
truly
don't
trust your
always
prayers,
change the situation
your actions
instantly,
begin to match
but they
what you
change
say
how
you
long
believe.
you can endure it.
You cannot
And
pray for a better
endurance is
life
powerful
and keep making the same
because
choices.
it means you haven't lost.
You cannot
Trusting
ask
your
God
prayers
for growth
means
and remain
trusting that
comfortable.
every
Prayer
obstacle
opens the door,
you survive
but
prepared
discipline
you
is
for
what
the next
walks
level.
you through it.
You didn't come
God
through
will give
all
you the
that
opportunity.
just to stop
You
here.
have to be
You
willing
came
to do
through
the work
because
that
there's more
opportunity
ahead.
demands.
Your survival is not
Faith
the end
without
of the
action is
story.
like planting
It's
a
the
seed and
foundation
never
of your
watering it.
testimony.
You may
Ladies
believe
and
it can
gentlemen,
grow,
trusting
but
your
belief
prayers
alone
reaches
won't make
its
it happen.
highest
There were
level when
times
you
in
learn
my
to be
life when I
grateful
prayed for
before the
success,
results appeared.
but I didn't yet have the
Gratitude is
habits
not
to
just
support
about
it.
saying thank
I
you after
wanted
you receive
change.
something.
God
It's
will
about
not
believing
override
so
your
deeply
responsibility
that you thank
He will
God in
guide you,
advance.
strengthen
That kind
you,
of gratitude
and
says,
inspire you.
I trust
but
you
He
even when I don't
expects
see
you to
it
show
yet.
up every day
It is
and
easy
do
to be
your
thankful
part.
when life
you
is
pray
good,
and then take action,
but it takes
you
real
are
faith
telling
to
God
be
you
grateful
trust
in
Him
the middle
enough
of
to move
uncertainty.
forward.
When you
Even
choose
without
gratitude
guarantees,
during
action
the waiting
also
season,
requires
you
courage.
shift your focus.
Trusting your prayers
Instead
means
of
being willing to
concentrating
take
on
risks.
what's missing,
You have to
you
step
begin
out
to
of
notice
fear
what's
and into
already
faith.
present. Many
You
people
recognize
stay
the
stuck because they are
you've
waiting
been
for
given,
everything
the
to
lessons
feel
you've
safe
learned,
and certain,
and the
before
growth
they
you've
move.
experienced.
But faith does
Gratitude
not
opens
operate
your
on
eyes
certainty.
to the blessings
Faith operates
that have
on
been
belief.
surrounding you
You
all
move
along.
first and clarity
Many people
follows.
miss their
You step
current
out and the
blessings
path
because they are
reveals
too
itself.
busy
That's
waiting
how
for the
prayer
next
works
one.
with action.
Being grateful
Another
also
thing about
protects your
faith in
mindset.
action is consistency.
Complaining
One
weakens
prayer
your
does
faith.
not cancel
Gratitude
out years of poor
strengthens it.
habits.
When you
constantly
can't pray for
complain
discipline and then
about
quit
how
when it
long
gets
it's taking, you
uncomfortable.
create
Growth
frustration
happens
and
when you
doubt.
show up
But when you
repeatedly.
choose to thank
Even
God
when
in
motivation
advance,
fades,
you create
God
peace.
honors
Gratitude
consistency
reminds you
because
that
it
if
shows
God has
commitment.
already done
When you
so
keep
much
working,
for you,
keep
He
learning,
can handle what
and
you're
keep
worried about
improving,
next.
you are aligning
Trusting
your
your
actions
prayers
with
through
your
gratitude.
gratitude. Also
Trusting your
keeps
prayers
you
also
humble.
means
It
adjusting
reminds you
your
that
behavior
everything you have,
when God
everything
gives you
you
direction.
become, and
Sometimes
everything you
the
will
answer
receive
to your
comes
prayer
from
is a
God's
nudge
grace.
to walk away
Humility
from
allows
certain
blessings to flow
habits
freely
or
because you
environment.
understand
If
you
you
are
ignore that
steward,
guidance, you
not the
delay your own
source.
breakthrough.
Pride leaves,
Faith
peace
is obedience.
enters.
It's
Gratitude
listening and
changes
responding,
how you wait,
not just
instead
asking
of
and
waiting
waiting.
with
When
anxiety.
prayer and
You
action
wait with
work together,
confidence.
momentum
Instead
is
of
created.
feeling desperate,
You begin to
you
see
feel
small
expectant.
changes that
You don't
build
rush
confidence.
God or pressure
Your
yourself.
belief grows stronger
You trust
because
that
you
what's
see
meant for you
evidence
will
of
arrive at
progress.
the right time.
That momentum
That calm
keeps you
confidence
going when
is
things
a sign
get
of
difficult.
mature faith.
You realize
When
that
you
God
thank
is
God
not
before
just
the
working
breakthrough,
for you.
He
You
is
are
working with
aligning
you.
your heart
So
with
when you
trust.
pray,
You're
move,
saying,
prepare,
even if I
study,
don't
practice,
understand the
improve,
process, I
act like
believe
what
in
you
the
asked
promise.
for is already on the
And
way.
that belief
Because
gives
when
you
faith
strength to
meets
keep going.
action,
Gratitude
prayers
doesn't
stop
speed
being
up the
words and
answer,
start becoming a
but
lifestyle.
It prepares you to
Ladies
receive
and
it the
gentlemen,
right way.
trusting your prayers also means recognizing that survival itself is evidence that your prayers are working. Many of you are focused only on what hasn't happened yet. You overlook what could have destroyed you and didn't. You are still standing after situations that should have broken your spirit, crushed your confidence, and ended your journey. That alone is proof that God has been active in your life, even when you didn't notice it. There were moments when you were under pressure, stressed, confused, and afraid, and somehow you made it through. You didn't have all the answers. You didn't have all the resources. You had just enough strength to keep going. That strength did not come from luck. It came from grace. It came from prayers working behind the scenes, shielding you from things you didn't even see coming. Sometimes God answers your prayers by removing danger instead of giving you what you asked for. You may have prayed for a relationship that didn't work out, a job that didn't come through, or an opportunity that disappeared. At the time, it felt like loss. Later, you realize that what didn't happen saved you from heartbreak, failure, or unnecessary struggle. Survival is often the silent answer to prayer. When you trust your prayers, you begin to see your past differently. You stop saying, "Why did this happen to me?" and start saying, "How did I make it through that?" That shift in perspective builds faith. It reminds you that if God carried you through the hardest moments of your life, He can carry you into the future you're praying for. Your track record of survival is proof that God is not done with you. A lot of people give up because they don't see immediate success.
They think prayer only works when it produces visible results. But prayer also works by sustaining you, strengthening you, and keeping you alive long enough to reach your purpose. Some blessings are not things you receive, they are things you survive. Think about the emotional battles you've faced, the nights you cried alone, the moments you felt abandoned, the times you almost quit, and yet you're still here. That wasn't accidental. That was God answering prayers you didn't even know how to pray. When you couldn't find the words, your pain spoke for you. Survival builds credibility in your faith. It teaches you that even when life is unfair, God is still faithful. It reminds you that your prayers don't always change the situation instantly, but they change how long you can endure it. And endurance is powerful because it means you haven't lost. Trusting your prayers means trusting that every obstacle you survived prepared you for the next level. You didn't come through all that just to stop here. You came through it because there's more ahead. Your survival is not the end of the story. It's the foundation of your testimony. Ladies and gentlemen, trusting your prayers reaches its highest level when you learn to be grateful before the results appear. Gratitude is not just about saying thank you after you receive something. It's about believing so deeply that you thank God in advance. That kind of gratitude says, I trust you even when I don't see it yet. It is easy to be thankful when life is good, but it takes real faith to be grateful in the middle of uncertainty. When you choose gratitude during the waiting season, you shift your focus. Instead of concentrating on what's missing, you begin to notice what's already present. You recognize the strength you've been given, the lessons you've learned, and the growth you've experienced. Gratitude opens your eyes to the blessings that have been surrounding you all along. Many people miss their current blessings because they are too busy waiting for the next one. Being grateful also protects your mindset. Complaining weakens your faith. Gratitude strengthens it. When you constantly complain about how long it's taking, you create frustration and doubt. But when you choose to thank God in advance, you create peace. Gratitude reminds you that if God has already done so much for you, He can handle what you're worried about next. Trusting your prayers through gratitude also keeps you humble. It reminds you that everything you have, everything you become, and everything you will receive comes from God's grace. Humility allows blessings to flow freely because you understand you are a steward, not the source. Pride leaves, peace enters. Gratitude changes how you wait. Instead of waiting with anxiety, you wait with confidence. Instead of feeling desperate, you feel expectant. You don't rush God or pressure yourself. You trust that what's meant for you will arrive at the right time. That calm confidence is a sign of mature faith. When you thank God before the breakthrough, you are aligning your heart with trust. You're saying, even if I don't understand the process, I believe in the promise. And that belief gives you strength to keep going. Gratitude doesn't speed up the answer, but it prepares you to receive it the right way.